The victory of the underdog over the favored team, the last-minute penalty shot that wins the tournament, the high-energy training montages. Many people love to glorify victory on the playing field, cheer for favorite teams, and play sports. But here's a question. Should we be so obsessed with sports? Is playing sports actually as good for us as we make it out to be, or just a fun and entertaining pastime? What does science have to say? First of all, it's well accepted that exercise is good for our bodies and minds, and that's definitely true. Exercising, especially when we're young, has all sorts of health benefits, like strengthening our bones, clearing out bad cholesterol from our arteries, and decreasing the risk of stroke, high blood pressure, and diabetes. Our brains also release a number of chemicals when we work out, including endorphins. These natural hormones, which control pain and pleasure responses in the central nervous system, can lead to feelings of euphoria, or what's often called a runner's high. Increased endorphins and consistent physical activity in general can sharpen your focus and improve your mood and memory. So does that mean we'd get just as much benefit going to the gym 5 days a week as we would joining a team and competing? Well, here's where it gets interesting. Because it turns out that if you can find a sport and a team you like, studies show that there are all sorts of benefits that go beyond the physical and mental benefits of exercise alone. Some of the most significant are psychological benefits, both in the short and long term. Some of those come from the communal experience of being on a team. For instance, learning to trust and depend on others, to accept help, to give help, and to work together towards a common goal. In addition, commitment to a team and doing something fun can also make it easier to establish a regular habit of exercise. School sport participation has also been shown to reduce the risk of suffering from depression for up to 4 years. Meanwhile, your self-esteem and confidence can get a big boost. There are a few reasons for that. One is found in training. Just by working at skills, especially with a good coach, you reinforce a growth mindset within yourself. That's when you say, even if I can't do something today, I can improve myself through practice and achieve it eventually. That mindset is useful in all walks of life. And then there's learning through failure, one of the most transformative long-term benefits of playing sports. The experience of coming to terms with defeat can build the resilience and self-awareness necessary to manage academic, social, and physical hurdles. So even if your team isn't winning all the time, or at all, there is a real benefit to your experience. Now, not everyone will enjoy every sport. Perhaps one team is too competitive or not competitive enough. It can also take time to find the sport that plays to your strengths. That's completely okay. But if you spend some time looking, you'll be able to find a sport that fits your individual needs. And if you do, there are so many benefits. You'll be a part of a supportive community. You'll be building your confidence. You'll be exercising your body, and you'll be nurturing your mind. Not to mention having fun.
In this video, we're going to look at some of the major benefits, both physical and mental, that an exercise program can bring to your life. Let's start with the physical benefits. Number 1, cardiovascular and respiratory improvement. Over time, you end up strengthening the cardiac muscle that surrounds your heart. You also pump a greater volume of blood with each stroke, which causes a decrease in resting heart rate. You develop more red blood cells, which improves your ability to bring oxygen to your muscles, and your lungs become stronger and better at supplying your body with the oxygen it needs. Number 2, reduction in health risk factors. Regular exercise can reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease, developing type 2 diabetes, and metabolic syndrome. Research also shows that active people have a lower risk of colon and breast cancer, and regular exercise can also increase your chances of living longer. Number 3, increased metabolic rate. Metabolic rate is the rate at which your body burns calories. During exercise, you obviously burn more calories than when at rest. However, your metabolic rate at rest is enhanced even after your workout session is completed, as your body uses energy to repair muscles and replenish ATP storage and glycogen storage. This does depend on several factors, including the intensity of the exercise and your current fitness level. Number 4, decreased risk of falls. Incorporating balance, coordination, and muscle strengthening activities into your exercise program can improve your motor skills, thus reducing the risk of falling. Number 5, bone health improvement. Impact activities such as plyometrics and jumping and resistance training can slow the loss of bone density that comes with age. Playing sports that involve running and jumping can be advantageous as well. Number 6, weight loss and reduced obesity. Physical activity can be a key part of a complete weight management plan to avoid excessive fat gain and to maintain a healthy weight. Regular exercise burns more calories and increases muscle mass, both of which are key to weight loss and weight maintenance. Now let's take a look at the mental benefits. Number 1, increased feelings of well-being. Exercising enhances the action of endorphins and enkephalins, which improve natural immunity and reduce the perception of pain. Regular exercise can also improve mood, feelings of having more energy, and overall quality of life. Number 2, better sleep. Research has shown that regular exercise helps people fall asleep faster and enjoy a deeper sleep. It can also improve sleep duration and decrease middle-of-the-night wake-ups, providing a better overall sleep quality. Number 3, better brain function. Regular exercise can reduce fatigue, which can improve alertness and concentration. Physical activity improves blood circulation, which delivers oxygen to the brain at a faster pace, which leads to sharper thinking. Number 4, increased self-esteem. Regular exercise can improve your body shape, increasing your confidence in your appearance, thus increasing your self-esteem. Exercise also promotes a sense of accomplishment, which can increase your confidence in taking on other tasks in your life. And that would be some of the major physical and mental benefits of an exercise program.
In 1861, Norman Triplett would write what many would consider the first social psychology paper, a paper that would usher in the dawn of a new field of study known as sports science. Sports science has captured the imagination of popular media, but there are many misconceptions about what sports science is. So what actually is sports science? Sport has become highly profitable. The fitness industry is estimated to be worth around $84 billion. To quite simply put it, sport and exercise science is the application of scientific principles to sport and exercise. However, sports science is more involved than that. So it was decided in Helsinki by some sports scientists with possibly far too much time in their hands to create definitions for both sport and exercise, and to differentiate between the two. Sport is to do with performance, whereas exercise is often referred to fitness or to health. Yet again, you need to exercise in order to do performance sports. It must also be noted that physical activity and exercise are not the same thing. Physical activity in daily life can be categorized into occupational, sport conditioning, household or other activities. Exercise is physical activity that is planned, structured and repetitive and has a final or an intermediate objective, the improvement or maintenance of physical fitness. Physical fitness is a set of attributes that are either health or skill related, and the degree to which people have these attributes can be measured with specific tests. Often when we think of sports science, we usually think of someone sitting on a bike or on a running machine with tubes hanging out their mouth attached to a computer, like some kind of symbiotic relationship between man and machine. Or we may think of the amazing stats, facts and figures, but there is more to sports science than just measuring forces. In sports science there are three main domains with which all subjects fit into. And exercise psychology, the study of human behaviour in relation to sport and fitness. Biomechanics and kinesiology, if you like, is the sexy side of sports science. This is the study of forces and movement of objects. It's normally the first thing people think about or associate with sports science. Physiology is the study of the function of the body. There are three main approaches which sports scientists can view a problem. An interdisciplinary approach is utilizing more than one area of sport and exercise science in an integrated and coordinated manner in an attempt to solve real-world problems for individuals and groups within the sport and exercise environment. Multidisciplinary teams are people from different disciplines working together, each drawing on their disciplinary knowledge. Cross-disciplinary is where an individual views a problem through two or more domains. In science, we consider information that has been published in journals as empirical evidence, and therefore as being highly valid, highly factual. The problem with this kind of information is that it's not easily accessible to the wider population or easily understood. This can lead to people searching for information from questionable sources, the so-called bro science.
That's the way to go.
Yeah, that and protein.
5,000 calories, that's what I'm working with now.
You better be careful though, because if you don't do it 15 minutes after workout, it's not gonna have the effects.
Oh,
I understand that bro science isn't necessarily an empirical or a scientific term. However, it symbolizes the unsupported, bad evidence that there is out on the internet, as represented by this quote from Dr. Kelsey Erickson's research. I just go through and see what people say, then see if there is a review on YouTube. If they give the green light, I go ahead. If it does not work, or don't feel right, then I stop and sell it on to somebody else who is stupid enough to take it.
Bro science is lifting advice from an unqualified bro who looks like he works out. Every jack dude at the gym is a gold mine of unfounded advice. Passed down from generation to generation. We believe it works because that guy told me, and he's freaking huge!
Christ, that accent is awful. Better stick to the day job then. Basically, the motto of the story is, beware of any advice that has no scientific evidence to back it up, and sounds like it comes out of certain bodily cavities. Norman Triplett was born in Perry, Illinois, 1861. In 1898, he wrote what is now recognized as the first published study in the field of social psychology. His experiment was on social facilitation effect. Triplett noticed that road cyclists tend to have faster times when riding within a presence of a counterpart, as opposed to riding alone. He concluded that the bodily presence of another contestant participating simultaneously in the race serves to liberate latent energy not ordinarily available. This can be known as slipstreaming, or in the case of cycling, known as drafting. I shall use Roger Bannister's 4-minute mile as an example of this.
As the gun fired, Chris Brasher went into the lead and I slipped in effortlessly behind him, feeling tremendously full of running. My legs seemed to meet no resistance at all, almost as if impelled by an unknown force.
The term slipstreaming describes an object travelling inside the slipstream of another. If you look at where Roger Bannister is placed, he is directly behind Chris at this point. By slipstreaming or drafting, you are able to reduce drag. This means that Roger is able to exert 4% less energy compared to Chris in front. The weather conditions were overcast and windy, therefore by positioning himself there, he could save up to around 8% of energy. He is also protected more from wind resistance, and by drafting on a windy day you can preserve up to 80% of energy you would otherwise spend fighting air resistance. That corresponds to about 1 second per 400 meters at that current pace. Oxygen consumption is also greatly reduced when drafting. Although less of an issue at slower speeds, slipstreaming is more aerodynamic for both the lead runner and the chasers. Two runners who run separately will find it harder than two runners drafting. There is also the tactical and competitive elements to think about. You are more likely to run faster competing against someone than running alone. The next legend we are going to talk about is the weird and eccentric Muybridge. Edward Muybridge was an English photographer and pioneering work with photographic studies of motion. Trying to win a bet, Edward Muybridge managed to dispel the myth about horses' gaits. It was previously thought that horses ran with the legs spurred out in front. Edward Muybridge's work helped to inspire others like Etienne Jules Murray to not just to capture horses and human motion, but to try and understand the mechanics of motion. This transposed over into sport. During the 1900 Olympic Games, biomechanists were allowed to analyze human motion and analyze the athletes while competing. One of the more interesting findings from Murray's analysis was the comparison in this winning hurdle action to the method of the Frenchman Mr. Potier. In this example, the photographic image taken using chronophotography were drawn onto a single image, clearly showing the progression of the technique. So Alvin taking the hurdle with a straight front leg, similar to modern hurdlers, compared to the Frenchman below, who tackles the hurdle quite high. Although we advanced the technology for biomechanics, many of the techniques that they mastered in this era are still used to this day. During the 20th century, many of the sports science research took their inspiration from the space race and vice versa. If we look at many of the Soviet studies, they looked at how to position the body within the air, as this would help with gymnastics by either tucking the legs into the body or by elongating the arms and the legs. You can facilitate optimal rotation, linear rotation or angular rotation, or by utilizing the core, prevent yourself from rotating. This can be seen from Felix Baumgartner's world record skydive attempt.
For a long time. I'm like a half hour.
With the issues of participation in physical activity high on their political agenda, and high-performance sport embracing science more than ever before, the scope and demand for applying sport and exercise science in a variety of contexts is growing. The heavy use of sports science principles have been adopted by business, the military, and also medical sectors. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe down the bottom if you liked it, or like the videos. If you have any comments, simply write down below. Any videos, any questions you want to ask, simply write them down in comments and I will answer them to the best of my ability even. Or I might even make a video of them. To find any more information, you can contact me on Adam MDT and Performance. I'm not that hard to find. I look forward to your reply.